it's Appleseed.
Hey Appleseeders, welcome back to another video. If you haven't already done so, make sure to check out the Maple Administrator to claim your compensation items. I started the day off by completing my 7 Monster Park runs, which landed me at 87% EXP. I continued my daily grind, and I was able to hit level 248 after completing all my daily missions. Afterwards, I upgraded my 5th job skills, which the hyper event has been so helpful in helping me max these abilities. So far, my multi-punch and true spirit claw are already max level, so that's going to be super helpful for bossing. I wrapped up the day by collecting my Moonshade Scroll reward. This was a pretty quick day because it was Thanksgiving, so I went ahead and celebrated with my family. The next day, the daily story continues. I did my daily missions, and then I upgraded my arcane symbols, which go by so much faster now with all of the quality of life changes, and completed Monster Park. And after doing all that, I'm almost at 50% EXP. Level 251, here we come. Today was also the cube sale, which was a complete nightmare to navigate. The cash shop was so laggy that even buying my Monster Park tickets took forever. And so I gave up and I only bought 2 sets of bright cubes, which I know sounds like very little, but to be honest, I didn't really have much to cube on my shade anyways. And also, I'm planning on saving my misos for the Shining Starforce event, which is coming out soon, so 60 cubes was just enough for me. I went ahead and tried cubing, but oh my goodness, it was so laggy that I ended up giving up, so I'm just gonna cube when it stops lagging. Next time, please fix your game. Okay, now it's time to do some weekly bossing. So here's me working on my link skills. These are the bossing link skills I usually go with. Terms and Condition is probably my favorite bossing link skill. And then here are my Legion stats. I know it's not optimal, but I'm just way too lazy to make another preset, so this one is fine for me. And here's me working on my inner ability. So far, haven't gotten lucky and landed on this 15% drop rate, so that's what I'm sticking with. I thought this would be the perfect time to give my thoughts on Shade since I'm completing my weekly bossing. Shade to me has always been a super fun class even before the rework. I was actually going to second main one since I loved everything about the class, aesthetically and story-wise. Also, the fact that Shade and Evan are besties is super cool since Evan is my all-time favorite class and main since his release. The mobbing and bossing are so simple, there's no unique mechanic that you need to know unlike other classes where there's a bit of a learning curve. The mobbing is really good with the revamp, but even before it was still surprisingly good. For the bossing, I really love how you can reset your bind and use it immediately on another boss. That's really good for bossing mules that want to speedrun their weekly bosses. Shade having a 1-minute burst is actually insane. Most of the classes that I play have very long burst timers, so this was pretty refreshing and super good as a boss mule because you can use your burst at every boss. These nuances are the things you want to look out for when you're creating a bossing mule. The movement is pretty decent with backstep, although you can't really spam it, which sometimes can feel clunky, especially when you're training, but it's not really an issue for bossing. Shade mains, let me know how you feel about this. True Spirit Claw is one of my favorite skills to use. It's like a mini burst every 6 seconds, and I love any 5th job skill that alters an existing skill. Like the Kaiser skill that gets enhanced at 5th job is also really cool. Hopefully we get more skills like this with the Hexa skills because my keyboard hurts even after the changes to some of the buffs becoming passives. The one skill that doesn't make any sense to me still is the first job skill Fox God's Favor. I don't know why this isn't just a passive entirely. And also the imp skills still don't make sense at all. Those could have been reworked a little better. I also noticed that I don't use them even though they apply a very good final damage buff. I should really start using it. And yeah, those are my thoughts so far. I highly recommend Shade for beginners who want something easy to play and performs very well. Let me know what your thoughts are on Shade so far, and if you're hyperburning in Aran, let me know how that's going in the comments below. After my weekly bossing, I went ahead and collected my Moonshade Scroll reward. I don't know why, but for some reason, I thought that when it said Shade Emblem, we were gonna get like a special unique emblem for Shade, but turns out it's just an effect, which not too bad, but I totally got baited there. It was time to do my Ride or Die weekly, so I went ahead and completed that. Honestly, I don't know why, but rank A took forever to do, even on Horntail and Zakum. So after taking forever to defeat the both of them, I mean, to be fair, it's not forever. It took about like 5 minutes, but still, that's way too long for me to be doing this quest. And I gave up, went back to rank C, which took 10 seconds to do on each boss. I don't know why Nexon made the balancing on this so weird, but honestly, rank A should get nerfed a little bit and give you more points, and then rank S can stay as hard as it needs to stay, but the score that you get for the effort does not add up, and even if I did every boss on rank A, I would still not get 40,000 points at the end of it anyways. So I guess as long as I do 1 or 2 rank A's, the rest could be rank C, and I can get by this super quickly. And that's how my Ride or Die Weekly went. The MapleStory Next update is coming out in KMS, so I wanted to share some of my predictions. It's giving galaxy theme or space themed, so based off of the promo, I'm guessing we would be seeing a Kaiser rework. I know that everyone is wanting a Kaiser rework for a long time, and even myself included, because Kaiser is such a cool class that doesn't get enough love. No class can transform into a dragon, so that alone is such a big standout, and it would be really cool to see how Nexon does its rework. So my first prediction would be a Kaiser rework. From the name alone, Next, that could signify a new 6-job skill or mastery, like here's your next skill, or it's time for your next ability. I would love to see a new 6-job skill or mastery for Evan. Maybe not a skill since my keyboard is full, but a mastery that enhances existing abilities would be super cool. Or give us a new skill and make more buffs into passives. That would be nice. For example, Decent Sharp Eyes doesn't need to be an active buff. I could see Damien getting a rework too, since we just got the Lotus rework, and Damien is super outdated and the fight is so tedious and boring. I would love to see a Damien rework. And that would go in line with my next prediction, which would be an overhaul of the Haven and World Tree weeklies. Let's just keep it as simple as defeating 600 mobs or something like that. Heck, I would even do 1,000 to 2,000 mobs instead of the mess that we have now. My final prediction would be to make boss drops a bit easier to obtain. Absolab boxes should drop from normal Lotus and Damien. There's no reason why it is gatekept until hard Lotus and Damien, when you can't even defeat them until you have some decent arcanes. By then, Absolab is completely obsolete. So I could see Nexon making Absolab boxes a drop for normal Lotus and Damien. Maybe the same thing for normal Lucid and Will. We could get some arcane boxes in here. I think the accessories should drop more frequently. Rework Pat Mark to drop easier, since to this very day I haven't gotten a Pat Mark and that should be illegal. Let's make it easier for mid-game players to reach new content. I know this is a prediction that a lot of people have too, but I don't see us getting a new job. There's no point in adding a new job to the game when classes like Kaiser and Resistance are begging for a rework. I would rather see existing classes reworked into something new and fresh than getting a new class. And then lastly, this one's not really a prediction, but I personally think Nexon should add more early to mid-game content. I really liked when Slime Boss came out because it gave something for mid-game players to be excited about, and the boss fight is fun. We should get new bosses or questline in the mid-game that gives us useful boss equips to give us a chance to even make it to the end game. I would like to see more pocket items and badges. I miss doing questlines that felt like stepping stones to the game. Remember the original Mushroom questline when you first hit level 30? That was iconic as hell. Let's get some party quests in the chat. I would rather do a daily party quest for Erta fragments and note stones and anvilable items as opposed to defeating 3,000 mobs in the grandest region. Anyways, let me know what your predictions are for the next update and what you'd like to see happen for the future of MapleStory. I want to show you guys this new buff feature that they just added to the game, but if you go into your settings and your UI and you click buff favorites, you can actually customize your favorite buffs and then have them appear anywhere on your screen, which is super helpful for bossing and training because now you can get indicators for buff timers anywhere on your screen. So for me, I love being able to see the buff timers right above my HP because I'm always looking at my HP, and sometimes I have skills that I forget to refresh or use in bosses and even training. Super helpful that they added this to the game. Remember the 60 bright cubes that I bought? Well, I can finally use them now because the event is over, which means things aren't lagging anymore, and I was able to make some pretty decent upgrades on my equipment. Here are some of the upgrades that I was able to make. I also started doing my arcane weekly missions for extra arcane symbols. I usually don't start these until I have them all down to 1 per week, just because it makes things a lot quicker. And finally, it was the Shining Star Force event, which I've been looking forward to. Here's me upgrading my arcane glove, and mind you, I only had 1 extra copy of this glove, so if I boomed it, it would have been really sad, but I needed to make some gains, and so you're about to see just how lucky I got, and honestly, I probably used all my luck on this, but check it out. Here's me contemplating whether or not to just keep it at 20, but I was like, you know what, I'm not a loser, I'm not a failure, I go all in with these, and I was able to hit 22 stars, which blew my mind. I did not boom this glove once. So this is the first arcane glove that I got, and I was able to reach 22 stars with 0 booms in under 2 bill. My mind was blown. I tried my luck with the arcane shoes since I also had a copy of that, but I got so close to 20 stars and it just ended up not working out, but it's fine because you can only be so lucky once, and it didn't really upgrade, so I'm keeping it at 17 stars for now. Okay, afterwards I worked on my superior Gollux ring, and unfortunately I boomed it. I was so close to 20 stars, and you know how it is. So I had to get a new superior Gollux ring, and I went back and tried to get it to 18, 19 stars, but I thought it was too risky because you can only buy 1 ring at a time, and so I didn't want to risk not having a ring. I still have to do my weekly bossing, so I'm just gonna keep it at 17 stars for now, which is actually a downgrade because when I started I had 18 stars, but I think I truly sacrificed all my luck on this 22 arcane glove. I was pretty satisfied with where I was with my Evan. You know, getting a 22 arcane glove is a pretty big win for the day, so with the remaining misos that I had, I needed to upgrade my equipment on my shade. My goal is to get everything to 17 stars, which will put my shade in a really good place to be a bossing mule permanently. I definitely cursed myself with that arcane glove because I boomed both of my golden clover belts. Like, who even booms a golden clover belt, right? And I quickly went to Pink Bean to try to get a new golden clover belt, and I was not able to get a new one, so my shade does not have a belt in the meantime. But good news is I was able to get all my other equips to 17 stars. I went ahead and did the same thing on all my other bossing mules with the goal of getting 17 stars on all my equips, and you guessed it, including my Wind Archer bossing mule. That's right, my Wind Archer bossing mule is making a return. Well, not for long, it's just gonna be a weekly bossing mule, but I can't believe that when I first started my channel and I was creating Wind Archer bossing mule series, I was like literally using 12-star equips to defeat Lomian. And that's so silly because I don't know why I did that. So we're back on my Wind Archer bossing mule, and we finally upgraded everything to 17 stars. And after dropping a whopping 32 billion misos on Shining Star Force, which was super successful in my opinion, I finally hit level 251 on my shade. We are 9 levels away from level 260. I figured I'd wrap up this video with some Wind Archer bossing mule weekly bossing. I just want to say thank you all for 2,000 subscribers. I can't believe it's been 2 years since my Wind Archer bossing mule series. I really love making videos and it's something I'm very passionate about, so thank you guys so much for sticking around and watching my content. I don't always have the time to make videos, so it's nice to be able to put new content out. I know many of you guys are here from my MapleStory content, but in all honesty, it's tough making content around the game where 90% of it is just daily story. When I first started this channel, I was never going to make MapleStory videos just because I didn't feel good enough at the game to do it, but I randomly put out a bossing mule guide and many of you really enjoyed it, so that motivated me to make more. I also really enjoy creating the MapleStory animations, and it gave me the perfect excuse to make them. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you all for being here. I'll definitely put more MapleStory content out, as well as other content that I've always been interested in, like my Remembering Games series where I deep dive into nostalgic games, and other video essay style content and gameplay. Anyways, finish eating that apple.